Asked, what's your BFCM strategy that has worked the best in past, and how will you be executing this season?
Juicy GWPs in place for our Black Friday Cyber Monday, and we saw a pretty sizable increase in performance year over year.
Welcome to Roaring Ladies of E-commerce community. This is, I guess, our 8th AMA, if I'm not wrong, and it's all going to be about your journey at Kendo Brands, learning from you, how amazingly well you guys have scaled Fenty Beauty and the other brands that you need today. It will be all about that. So thank you so much for taking our time, Sarah. Before we begin, guys, little bit about our guest today. Sarah Morphus is the Senior Director of Digital Marketing and E-commerce at Kendo Brands, where she leads direct-to-consumer businesses, including social commerce, digital experiences, and CRM initiatives to strengthen customer relationships and drive business objectives. And today she's going to talk all about what it takes to build such massive scaled e-commerce brands. So a very, very warm welcome, Sarah, to our community.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
Amazing. So let's begin. And guys, for those who are new to our AMA sessions, anything and everything that you have submitted while registering for this event, we'll cover those. But also, if you would like, you can put your questions on chat. Either Sarah can cover it post session through the Slack because she's either on Slack as well, or through any other means. So never stop yourself from asking anything. Just feel free to put it on chat. So yeah, let's begin, guys. So this session, again, I'm Sonakshi. I'm the creator of this community, RLOE, and I'm the founder and CEO of Manifest AI. Manifest has sponsored this event. It's an AI shopping assistant for e-commerce brands. You can create any kind of AI agents that you want, from increasing your conversion rates to decreasing your support ticket. So let's begin today. Here goes the first question for you, Sarah. Tell us a little bit before we jump into the scalability aspect of Kendo Brands, little bit about you, Sarah, like what excited you to join Kendo Brands and how has been your journey so far?
Yeah, so I've been with Kendo for it'll be 6 years in just a couple months, and it has been a wild ride. I see some Kendoites on the Zoom, and I'm sure they can attest to the fun adventure that we continue to have. Um, what drew me to it? So prior to joining Kendo, I was in the food and beverage space, and I really wanted to get into I had been in direct to consumer. I really wanted to get back into direct to consumer, and wanted to be within a category that people feel super passionate about. And I mean, everyone loves everyone loves beauty. And so I joined about 6 years ago. I joined actually leading our Marc Jacobs beauty brand, and then quickly my scope quickly increased. um, and I now lead all brands at Kendo.
Amazing. Thanks for that, Sarah. And before we jump into question, what has excited you the most at Kendo Brand so far in last 6 years?
The as much as constant change, and trying new things and test and learn, and we joke internally of like we're pivoting. We're always pivoting. As much as that can be difficult, it's also really exciting. I've been drawn to the digital space and the e-commerce space in particular because it's something where you can put something out into the world and get learnings and results back right away. See the impact that you're delivering, almost immediately. Um, and Kendo has that, overall kind of mindset of being open to test and learn, trying new things. And that's just been, while, challenging, super exciting.
Amazing, Sarah. So this is, like already it sounds very, very exciting to me. Let's begin our AMA. Since BFCM is around the corner, let me start with this question from Rose. She has asked, what's your BFCM strategy that has worked the best in past, and how will you be executing this season?
Yeah. So one of the big learnings that we had, this was a few years ago. is, and this seems, some of the things that I think when with e-commerce is, um, as marketers, we can sometimes talk to ourselves and overthink some things. Um, and at the end of the day, like we're all consumers of, we're all e-commerce customers. We're all, many ways consumers of our categories. And so a few years back, we put some really juicy GWPs in place for our Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and we saw a pretty sizable increase in performance year over year. Sounds so obvious, but it wasn't something that we were doing previously. As we've evolved and our strategy this year, that I'm really excited to see how it goes is uh, the incorporation of social commerce. And how does that look with social commerce now in the mix? We've got social commerce, we've got our retailer channels, we've got our own .com channel, and so we're laying out that plan to really think through that full customer experience for our brands across all of these channels, so that they're getting that consistent pricing, consistent messaging, et cetera, with the goal of leveraging social commerce as a marketing vehicle to really, drive all other sales channels. So we'll see how it goes. But we're excited to see how we can continue to kind of evolve our BFCM strategies.
Amazing, Sarah. So when it comes to social commerce, couple of follow-up questions. One is any particular platform that you're focusing on, or is it, doubling down on all the major platforms for Kendo? And second question would be around, have you put down any revenue numbers or the percentage of revenue that you expect from this other channel, social commerce?
Yes, I think you all can imagine what the lead channel is for social commerce. Everyone is scrolling their, FYP, so I'm sure you all can imagine what that is. And then as for revenue targets, I can't share exactly what those are, but they're double digit percent of our total direct to consumer
Nice.
sales. Um, so it's growing. It takes a lot of work, but it's growing.
Amazing, amazing, Sarah. I can understand, social commerce is a blend of a lot of great content as well, unlike websites. So that's one thing that has to work in your favor. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for sharing that, Sarah. Now moving on to next. How do you see loyalty coming into play to more deeply engage current customers as well as acquire new or penetrate the unique markets?
Loyalty is an interesting one, and candidly, it's not one that we fully untapped and unlocked yet at Kendo. Um, there's what's been interesting is we have subscription programs across our sites, um, and they're doing their thing. They're driving, and admittedly, we haven't put the level of energy and effort into those programs as we should. So it's a big initiative for us going into to next year. Um, we've been really focused on kind of driving that new customer acquisition, and now we want to retain those customers as we move forward. Um, but I think what we have seen success with is, tapping into those products that customers are so passionate about, um, and, partnering with our product development and brand team on continuing that pipeline, so that we can continue to bring those, exclusive fun items customers love, use those not only as that acquisition opportunity, but also as the retention.
Yeah, absolutely. And how does an omni-channel loyalty or retention strategy usually works out, Sarah? Let's say if someone's walking into a Sephora and buying, a product from Kendo Brands, how do you guys usually retarget them on your .coms or marketplaces? Just give us a little bit just about that.
Um, as I'm sure you all can imagine, sharing, customer data is difficult. it was impossible and has only gotten more difficult. Um, and so there isn't a great way to to retarget those customers. However, what we're trying to do is leverage the channels where we do have that insight into the customer to help support the channels that and inform strategies and media mix and whatnot for those channels where we don't have the customer insights.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Makes sense. Absolute sense, Sarah. What we have seen some brands doing is they're putting their Instagram DM QR codes inside the product that they sell through retail outlets. And then, I'm pretty sure like the percentage of people scanning those QR would be very less, but at least you get some of it through for those QR scans.
Yeah. We did try something. So when we launched in Ulta, uh,
Okay.
we tested out. We have a pretty robust shade finding capability on our
Mhm.
website,
Okay.
and so we tested out driving Ulta users to that shade finding capability to help them find their shade, even though they were in store. And so
Mhm.
we're trying to test these things out here and there. But yes, it is. It's a
Amazing.
yeah.
Amazing, amazing, Sarah. Thanks for sharing that. Moving on to next. It's a very elaborative question, which is around if you were building a retention roadmap for a restorative and preventative herbal wellness brand, what frameworks or platforms would you use to create dynamic personalization that evolves with each customer's health journey over time? What would your first three automations or data triggers be to make that experience both scalable and measurable in driving retention and LTV?
That is a really tough question. That's a really good question. Um, I my gut is, you have brands like Spoiled Child, Il Makiage, um, that are they start their experience, the first kind of touch point that a customer has with their channels is this quiz, right? Like going back to the 10 years ago BuzzFeed, quizzes that we were all spending so much time doing, but you have this quiz to really unlock and understand the customer. What are they looking for? What are their concerns? Um, and I'm sure, obviously those quizzes are helping to inform product recommendations but it's also capturing a ton of customer data that you can then feed into, the overall customer journey. The other thing that we've explored, we haven't executed on this yet, but we really looked into it. Is with one of our skincare brands, the shade finder I was speaking about just before. Um, of developing it in such a way that customers could scan they scan their face initially to get the initial product recommendations, and then setting up a journey to have them come back, scan their face, in 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks to see if the how the skincare products have impacted, and improved their skin concerns. Um, so I think that there's some could be easier, some could be, much harder integration, much more kind of intensive integration to get there for a restorative wellness brand.
Got it, got it. And Sarah, what do you think? Like they've asked, first three automations. One you've said is start with the quiz so that they can collect a good amount of data and then retarget. What do you think? What could be the right data points through those quizzes? For example, someone's asking, let's say, replying about their skin type could be one data point that they should retarget. If you can highlight a couple of them, that could be helpful.
Yeah, retargeting on their skin type, retargeting on, any other kind of changes that are time bound, life events, um, uh, you know, um, Target actually did this years ago. I think they actually got in trouble for it. because it really like gave customers a peek behind the curtain of their level of data capture and targeting, where they were using purchase behavior of their customers, and they were able to predict that a customer was pregnant, just based off of her purchase behavior in the kind of 6 months preceding, and then, how it shifted. And so then they started targeting her with messaging around preparing for a child and, baby products and whatnot. Um, that was obviously before a lot of the, um, uh, data privacy regulations has shifted, but it was brilliant. And, granted, Target has a pretty wide portfolio. They've got a ton of customer data, so they can, compile a lot more data than some of us, smaller, kind of single brand, platforms can. But I think it was a really smart way to just synthesize all of that customer purchase insights to then use the data to inform how you're, targeting and communicating with your customers.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Anything that leads to a personalized insight for consumers is something that they're gonna love it.
Yeah.
Definitely. Thanks for sharing that, Sarah. Moving on to next. How did you narrow down your strategy to an experience that feels authentic to the Fenty brand?
Um, Really good question and really fun question. We, as Fenty, it's yes, we're a e-commerce brand, but we're also the platform for storytelling. And actually, our creative director is on the call as well. I see her face. So hopefully, I do this question justice. But it's been, really embracing who we are authentically. We're a social first brand. We, have a very specific tone, a very specific voice. Fenty was founded on inclusivity. It was the first brand to launch with the most inclusive shade range. And so that those values are always at the forefront of, how we bring all of our experiences across all touch points to life. Um, and so sometimes that means that true, sales driving e-commerce type initiatives have to take a back seat in order for us to, have that brand experience at the forefront. That's challenging. That can be, can be a tough pill to swallow at times. Um, but we have to really stay grounded in who we are, what we're about, and continue to, people throw around that kind of like authentic term a lot, but it's really important because customers will see right through it. And trust me, customers have called us out when something happens that they're like, that's not right. And they'll call us out for it. And so it's so important for us to, keep that our values front and center.
Absolutely, Sarah. And I'm pretty sure, the experience also has its own part. Like you said, people call out anything, that they feel negative with the brand or the experience. So ORM, reputation management also becomes equally important. So how do you ensure that the reputation management also takes care of the experience in general that you want in front of your consumers?
Yeah. We have a um, very integrated team, very collaborative team across departments and across functions. Our social team and our customer service team are at the forefront of these customer interactions. We also have a field team that's working directly with, the retail teams in store. And so these three teams will come together regularly to discuss what's happening, what are they hearing, what are consumers saying, good, bad, or indifferent, and then we'll pivot. We'll make changes, to ensure that we're addressing that. Um, we have all sorts of communication channels going all the time where, various kind of team members, again, kind of at the forefront that are calling out, hey, customer said this, let's fix it. Um, and we jump on it right away.
Amazing, Sarah. Anything that you guys do with AI tools to do sentiment analysis so that, on a real-time basis, you get understanding of what's happening on such platforms?
There's some social listening tools that the team is using, so we'll monitor those. We also recently launched an AI tool for our customer service. And so it's very new. So we're still, we're still learning. We're still trying to understand, how is it impacting the customer experience. But we're able to start to pull out some of that sentiment. We also really leverage return data. So as customers, return information, we've made a number of enhancements to our overall kind of returns flow, so that we're capturing all of that and then sharing it back with the appropriate teams. And then one of the newer ways that we've done this as well is social commerce. And then we're able to actually see search insights. And what are some search terms that are being represented, that are being tied to our products. Um, you know, Transparently, there was a bug on one of our sites earlier this year that allowed customers to purchase products for very, very inexpensive. There was some coupon code bundling that was happening that, some, again, customers talk. Some people were figured out how to break the system, and they were sharing it everywhere on Reddit. So it was about an hour, and then we fixed it. Um, but, sure enough, that ended up being associated with our brand in as one of the top search terms on social commerce, where people were, "Hey, like, sharing this hack." Um, but so, yeah, that's the newest kind of area where we are, getting a lot of insights on what customers are saying about our products.
Yeah, absolutely. And anything, like if we're able to handle that situation, then even if people are talking about that on Reddit, it's an attention that you're getting to me.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
expensive, but, hey.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely, Sarah. Thanks so much for sharing that. Probably the founders or the brands who are, willing to achieve the scale that Kendo Brands have achieved is probably, some lesson that they can take from it. Moving on to next question. How do you think a single product brand performs better with a dedicated sales page or a regular website format that includes a product page?
I think it really, it goes down to your own kind of site experience that you're trying to deliver. And I again, putting myself in the customer's shoes, my expectation is when I land on a site that it isn't just a single PDP, that there is, additional content, or
Yeah.
perhaps additional products um, to sell. Um, and so without knowing a ton about the objectives of the business, what the product is, et cetera, my my gut recommendation is that you have it set up as not a single page website,
Yeah.
have it set up as a website so that customers can at least like navigate. That's kind of what we've all trained customers to do, is navigate around sites if they're looking for more information.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know if that answers.
Yeah, definitely that answers. And I was actually getting an advertisement on Instagram the other day, and the dress looked beautiful. I clicked on it. Again, like I was tempted to order it, but then I thought, maybe I should navigate and see how the brand is. And when I went there, there were a couple of other products which didn't even have a price. So it felt like it was the product that was put to make a sale. So, it ended up not converting into a sale. So, like you said, it's important to put those information as well on site
Yeah.
to make it a credible sale. Absolutely, Sarah. So, Sarah, like one last question before we move on to my favorite question, which is about advising our community is, how do we apply, you have shared a lot of tactics, strategies today. How can we apply some of these tactics to a brand on a smaller scale with a smaller budget?
In some ways, the smaller brands are able to be so much more agile. And I think that is crucial in in this space. Of course, it's always nice to have a budget, absolutely. Um, but having small, agile, nimble teams that can just kind of make their way through the changes, pivot quickly, is really powerful. We definitely see that on the Kendo side, right? We have, some brands that are smaller than others, and um, they can move quicker, and it's helpful, and it's powerful. Um, and then the hope is that you move quick, you learn, you're growing the business, and then you can unlock more dollars. Um, so I think a lot of the change that's happening in this space actually is set up for these smaller, more agile teams. Even though, you know, yes, you have less resources to do it. I'm also a firm believer in like, look, some things just, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Like some things are just need to be um not deprioritized, but, like, just drop it. Focus. And so I think that's another thing that smaller brands are able to make those tough choices, sometimes easier than the bigger brands are.
Absolutely, Sarah. That makes so much sense. And not just brands. I took this advice for my own SaaS company as well. This makes so much sense. Agility and the hustling culture at a small setup is your superpower.
Yeah, being able to, like, have team members that can be autonomous and make decisions and go, I mean, the dream.
Yeah, absolutely, Sarah. Thanks for sharing that, Sarah. Last question for all of us here is one piece of advice being, you are yourself a woman leader in the space. And, like if you were to, I would say put it this way that people who are just starting out their career, building a brand, or at a place where they aspire to be where you are today, Sarah, what would be that one piece of advice that you would like to give?
Yeah, so I had a mentor I was working with at, my time at Gallo, and he really, really helped me find my voice. And it was so impactful, to my career going forward, and something I share with my team, all the time. I wanna hear from people. I wanna hear your opinion. I wanna hear your perspective. I wanna hear how what do you think? I think it's so, so, so valuable, in that, you know, anyone can kind of do the job, right? Anyone can have their hands on keys, you know, uh, merchandise a site, manage a site, but like it's the thinking and the vocalizing what you're thinking that really sets us all apart as individuals. Um, and so that's the one thing is speak up. Ask the questions, share your perspective. Um, have an opinion, have a voice. It's really powerful.
Absolutely. Having a voice, such a beautiful advice, Sarah. And I believe, in the end, whatever skills that you have, the communication layer on top of it is something that makes it 10x and that speaks to the world. Thank you so much, Sarah, for sharing this. Last thing would be where, can people reach out to you if they have further questions? Any place that they can come to, any social handle or on Slack, if you can share that.
Yeah, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn. I think I'm Sarah Morphus is a pretty Morphus is a unique name. Sarahs are everywhere. But yeah, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Amazing. We'll also drop Sarah's LinkedIn profile, and you guys can reach out to her directly. Last thing before we log off, this webinar was sponsored by Manifest AI, and Manifest has launched 100 plus AI commerce agent doing work of, like Sarah said, finding the right shade or finding the right size, handling order refunds for you guys. So we are doing a webinar. It's a workshop on November 13th. We'll share details shortly on email and a link over here. Feel free to join in. But for today, thank you so much. Signing off. Lovely meeting you, Sarah. Lovely hearing your insights. Thank you so much for joining in today.
Thank you all so much. Have a good
Thank
day.
you. Bye. Take care.
Bye.